Have you ever wondered, like so many other people, how to power your entire RV off of your hybrid inverter? Well, today we're going to show you exactly how to do that. How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Welcome to another All About RVs. Today we're going to be looking at installing the inverter on a 30 amp RV or a 50 amp RV and be able to have available power throughout the entire RV no matter what the circumstance is. So we're not going to do the typical install where you have a sub panel and the inverter feeds just that, or the inverter feeds half of the RV in a 50 amp RV to where only half the things have available power. And we're also not going to put in two inverters for one RV. This is going to be one hybrid inverter that can power the entire RV, whether you're in inverter mode, you're in power assist if you're in a 15, 20, or a 30 amp situation, or the system will function as normal when you plug into 50 amp. I think this is an excellent way to set up the inverter in your RV because it gives you the maximum amount of flexibility. If you're plugged into 50 amp, everything's great. The system's going to be working properly. If you're plugged into, say, 15 amps and you're mooch docking at somebody's house, you have the ability to have your batteries kick in so that you can have that power assist function on the RV so that you can bring things up to as if you're on a single phase 50 amp system. I wanted to pause for a minute and explain the hybrid function of this inverter just a little bit better. It's not new, but it might be new to some. So this inverter has the ability, when you plug in your RV to a 20 amp outlet, you can set the limit to 20 amps and it won't draw any more than that and allow that power to pass through to your RV. Now, if you're in your RV and you're drawing more than 20 amps, let's say you're drawing 40 amps, it'll switch to a hybrid mode, meaning that it'll give you the 20 amps that it's passing through the multiplus, and it'll draw power out of the batteries to make up the difference so that you can be running on the 40 amps that you're trying to draw. You can do that up to 50 amps. Now, when your power usage goes down, it stops using that hybrid mode and it starts putting power back into the batteries. It starts charging your batteries again. So it gives you an amazing amount of flexibility. But because it has so many functions, we need something that can handle the split phase, the single phase, the inverter, the pass-through, and the hybrid mode. So that's why we have the smart phase selector that we're going to use in this video. It's basically a transfer switch. So I refer to it as the smart phase selector, the SPS, and a transfer switch because it's basically a switch that transfers how that power is going to be delivered, and it does a fantastic job of that. So let's get back to it. So I hope that there's a couple of ways that this video can help you out. So number one, if you don't like messing with electrical, I hope that this helps inform you of the systems that are out there, that you can take these diagrams that I'm going to put on the website. You can go and print them, take them to an installer. You'll be armed with some information about the things that you'll need to get in order to make a system like this happen. So you should have a ballpark for price of what something like this would cost you. Number two, if you want to install this yourself, the diagrams and the walkthrough that I give you of how to install this should give you the ability to be able to do it. I actually just walked a friend through it, sent him the diagram. He was several hundred miles away and he just got his up and going yesterday. So I hope that all these tools and resources can help inform you whether you want to try and install or take it to an installer and have a system like this function on your RV. So let's start looking at some of the equipment to make this system work, and we're going to look at the inverter first. So we're going to use the Victron 3000 watt inverter. It's the 12 volt unit. So there's a lot of different options out there. The Victron is my favorite. Go Power has one. The problem that they have with that is it does power assist, but it only senses on one line. So people have often had problems popping the circuit that they're connected to because it's not sensing on both circuits. Xantrex has theirs out there. Magnum also has theirs out there, which is actually a really nice one. It's brand new, just hit the market. It's really pricey. It's on the very high end of being able to have a power assist inverter. I haven't been able to get my hands on it, so looking at the specs, it looks like it does just about everything that we're going to be creating here today in our setup, but it is going to be at the top of the price list. And the one that we're using today, like I said, is the Victron. I love it because it is extremely high quality. I think their quality is great. I love the things that they're coming out with, the development of their products. I think they're at the leading edge of the things that they're coming out with. So I think they do a fantastic job giving you a lot of control over the system, where you can change up the type of battery that you're using and exactly the charge parameters you want. A lot of customizable settings for in here, and the ability to change that with a computer, the ability to do power assist from your phone with Bluetooth. They really have a lot of great advantages, and it's why you see a lot of RVers going with it, and why it's number one on my list. It's my favorite. I'm gonna put links down in the description to everything that we talk about today, those inverters we just mentioned, and everything, the transfer switches, the tools, everything that goes into installing this and being able to make this happen will be down in the description. So you can check that out. But let's take a look at the system. So let me give you a brief overview of what we have going on here. Our two main components, this is our inverter, and then this is our transfer switch. This is the smart phase selector. So this is connected to the batteries. Number one, we have the positive lead coming over here to the switch. And on the switch, we also have connected a fuse to protect all the wires, and then that goes directly to the battery. On the negative side, we come down to a shunt. This is just so we can monitor how much power we have going in and out of the batteries. And on the other side of the shunt, it's directly connected to the batteries. The only thing connected negatively to the batteries is through this shunt. So this is how it's going to be able to have this charge the batteries and also power sent from the batteries to here when we're inverting. Now on the AC side, this is our shore power coming in. So this would typically be connected to the breaker box in the RV to be able to distribute to everything. But for us, we're gonna bring it to this system, which at first enters our transfer switch. So the line comes into here on this side of the transfer switch, and part of it, because it's 50 amp, is actually gonna bypass over here to come to the inverter. This is the input of the inverter. And then from here, whether it has a pass through and allowing the power to pass through, or if it's inverting, the power will come through here back into our transfer switch. It comes into the top here, and then this will decide whether we have a split phase or a single phase power coming in, and then it'll distribute the power here, which will then go to our main breaker box in the RV. So you can see that there's a lot going on in there, but if you break it down into the different components, it's really not that difficult. And I'm gonna show you how to route the wires and how to connect each one and what they go to with a detailed description. You couple that with the diagram you can get off the website, then it should really help clarify and simplify and make it understandable so you could follow right along. So we're gonna have two diagrams, one with a manual switch and one with the SPS. This thing is actually amazing. It takes a lot of the human error out of it. You can achieve a lot of the same results, but you have to manually switch these things, and if you forget to switch it back over to 50 amp, when you do have 50 amp, then you may not be getting all the power you potentially could be. So this manual transfer switch will work, but this SPS is really amazing. But I'm gonna have diagrams to both of them on the website. Before I forget, with this manual switch is there's a detail on that diagram for how to wire this, because there's some jumpers and how it needs to distribute the power so that everything functions properly and safely. I use this isn't necessarily the only way to do it. You could do it with a single pole double throw switch, but those are harder to come by, harder to find for the proper sizing and amperage. And this is really easy to find on Amazon. So, but everything else we're going to do, because when I tried to wire that in, it worked and it functions great, but it was very messy because I didn't have a box to put it in. So everything's gonna be through this SPS. Now, the reason why the SPS is so amazing is because it takes the human error out of it. It senses the power coming in, and it knows whether you're plugged into a true 50 amp with split phase coming in and it distributes it properly, or it knows if you're connected to a 30 amp pedestal and that dog bone sends it to both legs. It needs to know that you are actually on single phase, and it needs to distribute the power properly in that circumstance. So for instance, if we were to look at a properly wired 50 amp pedestal, we would see that between line 1 and neutral, we have 120 volts. Between line 2 and neutral, we have 120 volts. And between line 1 and line 2, we have 240 volts. We get 240 volts because it's a split phase system. Now, if we were to look at a 30 amp outlet that's wired properly, between line 1 and neutral, we'll see that we get 120 volts. But if we look at the back of the adapter for a 30 to 50 amp adapter, we see that there's a little jumper that goes in between to be able to send that power to both line 1 and line 2. And this will actually protect you if they've bootlegged the 50 amp pedestal over there and they're sending you single phase when you think you're getting split phase. This detects it and handles it properly so that you can use your RV without overloading the neutral wire. But that's a different story. So inside the main panel in the RV for real world use, I don't have a 50 amp panel with me, so I'm just going to use this plug so we can see exactly what's happening and how we're getting the power at the different circumstances. So when we flip on the breaker for the 50 amp inside the panel, we'll have line 1, 120 volt, line 2, 120 volt, and between line 1 and line 2, we have 240 volts. It's properly wired. Now, if we were to be on 20 amp, we will see the voltages differently. On line 1, we have 120. On line 2, we have 120. And between line 1 and line 2, we have 0 volts. That shows that we're on single phase. So that's what we get when the system is working properly. But it's important to know, just because we have power available everywhere when we're on inverter or power assist mode, it doesn't mean that we can just turn on everything just like normal. You need to know how much you're able to plug into, how much you can have in power assist, and don't go over that. Just because we have power available everywhere doesn't mean you can just turn everything on. You do still need to watch your power usage. So that's how the system functions. Let's look at the inside and how to connect everything. So on the inverter, we can slide off the cover, and it's where we're going to make all of our connections inside of there. These are the wires from our main shore power coming in. On the SPS wiring diagram, you can see that they just literally show where you can cut the wires that go into your main breaker box. That way you don't have to yank the wires out of your breaker box. You can cut it where the SPS is going to go, where this switch is going to go. As long as you would have enough slack in the line to put both ends into this SPS. This is our shunt for the battery monitor. One end is going to go to the inverter, which everything else is going to connect to on that side of the shunt also in the future. And then the other side of the shunt goes directly to the batteries. On the positive lead, we still have this large 4-aught wire. It connects to the inverter, which then goes to the disconnect switch and the fuse to protect the wire, which then gets connected to the battery. Now we can start wiring up the smart phase selector. I even have a wiring diagram on the front, but our main shore power line coming in is going to the upper right corner of this switch. Now our green wire is going to go into the ground bus bar. Our white neutral wire is going to go into that center terminal. We can wait to tighten that down, and line 2, the red wire, is going to go into that far left terminal, that first terminal. Then our black wire we're going to set aside because it actually gets spliced in to go directly to the inverter. Now we can wire up our cable that goes into the inverter. So our black wire goes in that first position for line 1, our neutral in that center position on the end of the inverter, and our green for the ground goes in that far right terminal. The other end of that cable is going to go back to the smart phase selector. So the upper left corner of that box, it's going to go into there. Again, our green wire is going to go to the ground bus bar. Our white neutral wire is going to go to that center terminal on the far right side, along with the other white neutral that we had coming in from the shoreline. And our line 1 black wire is going to get spliced with the original one that we brought in. You can see that these black wires getting spliced together, it's bypassing the switch to go straight to the inverter. It comes with the hardware to make the splice on this connection and the heat shrink tube. So you want to heat up that tube. It has some adhesive in there, so you want to heat it up so it gives a nice and protected, a nice tight seal around it. Once that's done, we can tuck it into the bottom and just move it out of the way. Now we can wire the out of the inverter. Our hot leg, the black wire, will go into that first terminal of the out. Our neutral will be in that second terminal, that center terminal there, and then our ground wire will be in the right terminal of the out. That wire comes across back into the smart phase selector on the bottom left of that box. Again, our ground wire is going to go to the ground bus bar, and our white and black wire are going to go into the upper left section of this switch. Just a tip, making these connections with this thin stranded wire, You can use a ferrule or these sleeves to be able to make these connections a lot better so you don't have these thin wires going everywhere. It would keep it nice and tight and give you a nice positive connection. While the front of the inverter is open, we can wire in the Bluetooth for the inverter. It has a Cat 5 cable that connects into its port, and then you can use the positive and the negative leads in here to power it so it's on when the inverter's on. Now, the last connection we have to make in here are our main wires that go out to the main panel. So our black wire is going to be in that right terminal, our neutral wire will be in that center terminal, and our red wire will be in the far left terminal on the bottom of the switch. And then of course our ground, our green wire, will go to the ground bus bar again. You want to tighten everything down, make sure those connections are really tight so that nothing comes out. As far as using this inverter for the hybrid and inverter, they make it really easy to use. They have apps where you can download it and you can see what's going into your inverter and what's coming out. You can change the limit depending on what you're plugged into. So it's really user-friendly and works really well. But talking about a 30 amp installation, it's a lot more simple. 30 amp is really easy because it's always only going to be single phase. We don't have to worry about the split phase. So we're not gonna have a transfer switch because that's built into our multi-plus. It has a 50 amp transfer switch inside. So if we begin the install, we see that our power comes to the multi-plus, which is connected to our batteries through the shunt on the negative side, and on the positive side we have our shut off and our fuse. The line out for the AC line goes to our RV breaker box. On this setup, we have the benefit of it being an inverter, having the power assist, and it acts as a UPS, an uninterrupted power supply. So the microwave clock won't even turn off because the multi-plus actually syncs itself with the power that's coming in from the grid and then just picks up where it lifts off. The transfer switch is so fast inside that the computers or anything like that, the processors won't actually shut down. Close enough to instantly to where it doesn't shut the power off. So I hope this video helps you understand how to install an inverter on your RV with power assist function. There's other ways to install an inverter in the RV without the power assist, and there's lots of different ways that you can accomplish that, but they come with their own problems and drawbacks. So I hope this helps you out. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos about RVing, hit that subscribe button, and if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you next video.